What a cracker morning. Last of the run out tide. Move up on a shallow weed edge, plenty of bait in here. Fingers crossed we can stir ourselves up a fish. Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics, out on the water this morning, a beautiful winter's morning, and today we have grabbed a TT HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack and a handful of ZMan plastics. We're going to talk about the 5 different jig heads in this pack, some plastics to suit them, and how and where we might fish them to get you hooked up. Fish on. All right, fishing those lighter jig head weights with those finesse plastics, we're fishing 1 to 3 kilo spin gear, 1000 size reel, 6-pound braid, and 10 to 15 pound leader depending on the species that we're targeting. Basically where I am here, we're working a weed edge. So the water's still over the weed edge, but the fish will be dropping out off that weed edge. And I'm just making a cast right in, and we're gonna pick pockets. We're just gonna pick our way along this weed edge. Give that little prawn a few twitches. Let it hit the bottom again, and just see if we can stir up a brim or a flatty in along this edge. Yep. There we go, what are you? Little flatty to kick things off. Just fishing that light head with that prawn. You can see he's only a little guy, but he has absolutely scoffed it. And that's that light head weight. So that light head weight, that prawn just gliding down. He's got plenty of time to eat it, and he's really scoffed that prawn. The leader was in the gob there, so we'll just check our leader and make sure he hasn't chewed it to pieces, which those flatties can do, they're with those raspy mouths. But he was keen to eat that little ZMan 2.5 inch prawns. That's that 1/16 ounce number 2, which is perfect for guys fishing pontoons, canals, anywhere where you want to hold that plastic up in the water column around structure, or when you're fishing shallows like we are here, mangrove edges, the edge of this weed, anywhere where we're fishing shallow water. I like to fish it in sort of a metre of water and under that 1/16, or fishing high in the water column. Nice little flatty, we'll send him back in. See you, mate. Beautiful. Yep. What are you? Another little flatty. He's a little bit better, that one. We might put the net up there. Maybe a legal one, that one. That's on that 1/16 number 2, giving it plenty of time just to sink down to the bottom there in this shallow water. There we go, beautiful. 1/16 ounce number 2, ZMan 2.5 inch prawns, that beautiful slow fall presentation. Our river and estuary value pack, we've grabbed that lightest jig head out of there to start with because we've got that last hour of run out tide, so we're right up picking those shallow weed edges. He couldn't resist that on the slow fall. I gave it a couple of twitches as it was dropping back. Felt the pluck on the line, which was him eating it, set the hook and we fish on. So that's pretty good fun. 2 fish in quick time on that prawns with that light 1/16 ounce number 2 head. So we might change that up. We'll go up to the next weight and try 1/12 and fish in the drain itself in a little bit deeper water. All right, that was pretty cool. A couple of fish in quick time on that presentation. Going to change it up now. We've gone up in 1 weight. So this pack's pretty cool because it's got a good variety of heads right through to a 1/4 ounce. So the second head is a 1/12 ounce with a number 1. So again, that's perfect for all those smaller finesse presentations like the 2.5 inch grubs and prawns and slim swims and that sort of thing. I've gone now to the 1/12. We were picking right up in the weed. Now I'm going to fish in the drain itself, which is a little bit deeper. So I want to get that plastic down there a bit quicker. But because this plastic has a lot more action than the prawn as well, I need a bit more weight to get it down there because that drag of the tail moving is going to slow it up. So our prawn very much has no action. We put it out there and we impart the action with a flick and a pause. This guy, that curl tail, as it falls, as it moves on a slow roll, lots of action. I should have said, today I've kicked Declan out of the boat because he catches all the fish. Oh, Hollywood drag on this rod. Look out, I've got the drag pretty loose. So that was pretty much spot on exactly what we talked about. So we changed over to that heavier head. We're fishing this deeper section of the drain where the water drops out a bit. That's a nice fish. And this ST grubs, that tail, they cannot resist that tail. That tail's just wafted down, lots of movement. Just another legally good pan-sized fish if you were looking for a feed. So we just basically let that grubs fall down that deeper edge, sit on the bottom, give it a few shakes, and yeah, that flatty has drilled it. And that's on the 1/12 in a number one. 1/12 number one's a great all-round jig head for fishing shallow water. So whether you're up fishing the high tide flats or you're fishing shallow edges and drains like we are here, that 1/12 is a very popular jig head. The brim guys love it for fishing the flats. Also a good one in the canals and that sort of thing. Anywhere where we want to hold the lure up or slow sink it down in the shallow water. And that's that ST grubs, that split tail grub. You can see that deep ribbing on there that holds the scent really well. It feels nice and real, and that split tail design just gets that tail fluttering on the drop. And you can see that fish there. So the flathead, we often think flatty just lays on the bottom of that, but you can see all those fins lit up there, and that big tail really gets them moving. And when they eat in the shallows, and I love hunting them in the shallows because once you hook them, there's nowhere to go but sideways. So they really hit the afterburners and give you a bit of stick. Righto, buddy. There you go terrorise those bait fish. So basically when I make a cast, I'm just watching the line, and the line cuts a V in the water as it's sinking. Boom, then it's on the bottom. I know I'm on the bottom. I can give it a couple of little hops, give it a pause, watch that line again. Boom, we're on the bottom. Basically just moving it away from the fish like a prawn or a bait fish that's darting away from them. And then that pause, they see it as their opportunity to catch it and eat that bait. So Flatty's pretty quick off the start. He can bust out of the sand and smash those bait fish and prawns. So we're just trying to stir them up. We're dragging it away from them with a few shakes and hops, and then we're allowing it to pause for a second and give them that time to eat it. Here he is, little tick, picked it up. Only a little fella, this one. We'll just burn him in and get him back out there, because we know there's a big one in here. See you, buddy. He's away. Fun and games. So that was another quick one on that grubs, but we'll just get out there again. We know there's a big one in here. We'll see if we can find it. That was that beautiful tick as he ate that again on that slow fall. Oh yeah, there we go. Still got a bit of that Hollywood drag going on there. Another nice little fish. So plenty of action fishing these light jig heads in the shallows. So that slow fall, the fish can't resist it and they just grab it. So that's another one. He'd be close to legal as well. So a few legal ones and a couple of smaller ones, but there you go, just a little guy, and we'll send him on his way. 2.5 inch ST grubs, getting the bite, and we're on that 1/12 in the one from that value pack. So we've only fished the two smallest sizes so far, but we've managed to get ourselves a nice bunch of flatties in the shallows. See you, mate. This is it, this is the one. It's either on or it's off. There he is, yep. Yeah, he's still sitting there where he had a hit last time. So it was a flatty. You're coming in here, buddy. Sort you out quickly. So there you go, that's a pretty good little start to our day on the water. Pretty good start to the session there. Handful of flatties, fishing a shallow drain and weed edge with our 1/16 ounce number 2 and our 1/12 ounce number 1, slim swims and grubs. We'll see how we go. We might move on to another spot, fish some heavier heads, see if we can find that bigger fish. Righto, so that 1/4 ounce is going to give us the weight that we need to get to the bottom when we're fishing these deeper edges and stuff. So I'll often fish a 3-inch slim swims on here, or this guy here, a 3.75 inch streaks. So far we fished the prawn nice and slow, hopped it around, got those flatties to eat it, and then we fished that curl tail with lots of action. So we went from no action to action, and we're actually back on no action again here. So this plastic doesn't have a lot of built-in action. It doesn't have a paddle tail or a curl tail. So we supply the action to the plastic. And you can see there, it doesn't take much to get it moving. So the cool thing about a jerkbait style of profile is it's just a narrow, straight profile. So it punches long with a cast, especially if you're fishing in wind. And also if you're fishing in a bit of flow, it'll get down there because it doesn't have a lot of drag. Once it's down there, we apply the action, fish eats it. So we're going to rig our 3.75 inch streaks on our 2.0 and we're going to get stuck in along this edge. ZMan 10 times tougher LazTech material can take a bit of working to get on the hook how you want it, especially on these heavy wire hooks. But you can just take your time, and if you feel like you're not going straight, you can just pull it back off a bit and go back on again. So very durable plastic, so you can rig it over and over again, which means if you do mess up the rigging, don't stress, you can just come back and rig it again. All right, so earlier we were fishing around 1/2 metre to max 1 metre of water, whereas this deeper edge that we're fishing now, we're in the 2 to 3 metre sort of range, shallower on the edge, but we want to fish it down that drop off. So we're stepping that plastic down the edge, so we need that 1/4 ounce to hit the bottom in this deeper water. So 1/4 ounce is a great all-rounder for your river and estuary fishing. If you're fishing around that metre of water down to 3 metres, 3.5, 4 metres, 1/4 ounce will have you covered even if when there's a little bit of flow. We'll just work our way along this edge, punching casts up with the current and then bouncing them back down with the flow and down that drop off. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that's silver, that one. Are you a tailor? Tailor? Little tailor, there's a few of those guys getting around. He just coughed up a heap of little bait fish that look exactly like this lure that we've got on here. So, little tailor, that's not the target species, but those guys are always good fun. If we get a big one, he might go on the barbecue. Good set of choppers on this guy. Chopper tailor, as they call him. So lucky we got that 10 times tough ZMan plucky, held it together. See you, mate. You might be able to see that ripple along in the background there. That ripple is a weed edge and the edge of the drop off. So it actually drops off quite sharply. So we're just casting hard in against that edge. We're letting that little 3.75 inch streaks, that jerkbait profile, glide down and hit the bottom, watching that line. And then once we're on the bottom, we're just giving it a few twitches like an injured or dying bait fish trying to get away from the fish. And then hopefully those flatties grab it on this edge. Yep, that was a really nice take. Oh, that was beautiful. That's what I was saying earlier about that. Give it a hop and then pause it and then be ready for that. This is a decent fish. Be ready for that tick. And that was just falling back to the bottom. This little bait fish profile, just sliding back to just gliding down there like it's injured or dead. And that's a much better fish. That's a really nice fish. That's a bit better fish there. We're up into the 50 centimeters now. So that's a nice chunky little flatty. Pretty cool. So just working that deeper edge, bringing that plastic down that drop off with that 1/4 ounce weight, making sure we're bumping the bottom. That 3.75 inch streaks, that tailor earlier coughed up some bait. Looked just like that thing that he's eaten. That's a beautiful looking fish, real nice colors in that guy. That's getting up a bit more in size there, so a bit better fish. I'm gonna put it back in the water for you guys anyway. But that's utilizing that heavier weight from our value pack with that 2.0 hook on that 3.75 inch streak. So that pack gives us the ability to fish those 1/16th, 1/12th right up in the shallows, come out to a deeper edge, and we've switched up to the heaviest in that pack, which is a 1/4 2.0. We've also got a 1/4 3.0 in there. We're going to fish a different plastic on that up a bit further, but that's job done on our 1/4 2.0 3.75 inch streaks. Oh, he's still a bit lively, that guy. All right, there we go. We'll pop that out. That's that brutally strong mustard black nickel chemically sharpened hook, and our nice handful of flatty. Getting up towards the 50s there, and we'll send him on his way. See you, buddy. Good fun fishing that little jerkbait. Yep, there we go. First cast after letting that last one go, and we got some more action, so they've definitely fired up. So we pretty much fished the end of the run out in that shallow drain, and then we've come over to this area here and the tides changed quickly while we started fishing here. So we've now got the run in, so we've turned the boat around, and as that tide starts to run in, it fires these fish up, gets them more engaged. They start moving up on that edge, and we start plucking them off the edge. So that's another one, 2 and 2 casts on that 3.75 inch streaks. They say quit while you're ahead, so I reckon after that fish, we'll send him back and then we'll move on. Just talk about a bit of a different spot and another presentation that you can use. All right, we've moved off that deeper edge where we got those few flatties fishing that jerkbait, that 3.75 inch streaks on the quarter 2.0. We're sticking with our quarter, and this is the biggest jig head that's in this River and Estuary value pack, and that's the HeadlockZ quarter ounce 3.0. That quarter ounce 3.0 pairs up beautifully with one of my favorites for fishing the estuary. This is a 3-inch paddle tail profile, so it's a bait fish profile, 3 inches long, perfect for flathead, mulloway, tailor, lots of different species. Eat this, snapper, trevally. I've caught a ton of different species on this over the years, and if I could only have a handful of plastics in my kit for the rest of my life, this 3-inch minnows would be one of them, and it's one of my favorites when I'm specifically targeting flathead. So we're going to rig up this sexy mullet color. There's a bit of color in the water, it's a little bit murky, so we're going to run that sexy mullet color, nice chartreuse with a naturally looking back on that quarter 3.0, and we're just going to work our way along the edge and see if we can find ourselves a flatty or two. Yep. Right on that edge, that guy was sitting. Beautiful, right where he should have been. So we changed that quarter 3.0. Oh, he's not a giant, we'll swing him in. So that's our 3-inch minnows on that quarter 3.0. That's probably, if you want to go out and smash yourself some flatties, that's probably where I would start. I'd start with that 3-inch minnows, awesome paddle tail, swims on the drop, swims when you wind it slowly, whether you hop it, whatever you do, there's plenty of action in there. And on that quarter 3.0, it's perfect for scoping through the flats and drains and most of your estuary stuff. You can sink it down into a bit of water as well with that quarter ounce 3.0 head. You've got a bit of weight on there. Just pop that out, she's a bit hooked in there, there we go. It's only a little fella, but I'm pretty sure we can get a bigger one fishing this deadly little quarter 3.0, 3-inch minnows combo. See you, mate. Oh yeah, oh, what are you? Oh, that was awesome take. This dude's silver, and I saw him come up behind that plastic. That's that great thing. That sexy mullet color was nice and visible in the water. This guy, that was a solid eat. That's one of the great things about fishing shallow water. Oh, love that sound. My wife Sherry gets a bit freaked out when that drag's screaming. She hates that sound. I say, you gotta love that sound. She goes, no, that means I'm losing. No, you're not losing. You're just taking your time. So let that drag do its work. What are you? Are you a trevally? You a silver? Decent tailer, I think that is. That's the good thing about this larger baitfish profile, you know, it represents a whiting or a pilchard or bait fish that these guys love to eat. In you come, in you come, in you come, in you come. There he is. That's a chunk of a fish. Have a look at that thing. That's a weapon. Nice chunky tailer. Real thick fish. That's that beautiful bait fish profile, that 3-inch minnows. Lucky we're 10 times tough. We'll spear this guy back into the water and he should kick. He is away. Can catch anything drifting through this drain, eh? Whoa, how shallow are we? We're on the bank. Oh, there's a tap, straight up. Prospecting a bit of an area there. We came off the flat and it actually looked pretty good, dropped into nice depth. So I thought I'd have a couple of quick throws and got rewarded with an eat on the drop. That's the cool thing about that 3-inch minnows. It was swimming on the drop, just paddling down, doing its thing. And this fish has picked it up. I felt that tick and we got the fish. So that is our little bit bigger flatty that we've been looking for on the 3-inch minnows. Don't bite me off, buddy. That's the one we wanted. How's that? Beautiful. That is why I throw a 3-inch minnows. They love a whiting or a little potty mullet, and these 3-inch minnows are a great representation of that potty mullet or that whiting that these guys feed on. That fish is in beautiful condition, really nice, thick, heavy fish, wintertime, full of bait, so super pumped. That's a really good color. That's that sexy mullet. So really nice, natural, silvery, bait fishy top, but it's got that chartreuse, bit of pop. As they say, if it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use, is another common saying in fishing. So that is a beautiful fish. Let's put her in the water and send her back. All right, there we go, a bit of fun on the 3-inch minnows on that quarter 3.0. Now we've moved out onto the flats. That tide's picked up a little bit and that wind has picked up a little bit as well. So we've got a bit of wind, but rather than head home, we're going to use that wind to throw a big long cast across the flats with this tide. So there's only one jig head left in the pack to fish, and that's the 1/8 ounce 1.0, and we're going to rig it with one of my favorites, a ZMan 2.5-inch slim swims. Gets the bites from all different sorts of species. It's a beautiful little bait fish profile. We'll see if we can pick up a couple of fish on the flats with this last presentation, and then we'll head for home. Fish on. Big long cast on the flats. Our slim swims has been eaten. Oh, that is silver. As soon as we got into a little bit more water, we were right up on the flat, but these fish might have been holding out a little bit deeper. Feels very Taylor or Trevally-ish. Little Taylor, maybe. Come on, mate. Oh, get in the net. He's had a crack at it and missed it. He's a bit of a messy eater, that bloke. Just a little Taylor. That wind's picked up a fair bit, blowing us across the flats here. So we'll keep working our way. We'll just work our way across this flat. If it stops firing or this wind's too annoying, we might duck in and just try another little edge with this little paddle tail. See you, mate. Could be good. Oh, there we go. Oh, what are you? Eating it on the drop. You are a Brimbo. I was just asking for a Brimbo. There's one. As soon as we got off the flat and into a little bit deeper water, we're starting to get a bit of action. So worth moving around until you find what's going on. He's not a big brim, it's only a little fella, but good fun. They love a slim swims. That 1/8 ounce 1.0 is a very versatile presentation. 1/8, 1.0, 2.5-inch slim swims. So you can flick that around the pontoons and you can flick it around the canals, throw it across the flats, hop it down the edges. It's just a very versatile presentation. See you, mate. All right, today we're fishing the TT HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack. So perfect for those of you that want to get out there and fish that environment. Offers great value, but it also offers a great selection of jig heads for fishing that environment. From the canals, the pontoons, the shallows, right through to those 1/4 ounce heads for fishing the flats, edges and drop off. So you're pretty well covered for the most of the environments that you'll fish in the river and estuary, chasing a variety of species, brim, flathead, Taylor, trevally, all sorts of species, and you're pretty well covered here. So in the pack, there are 5 different jig heads, and there's 5 of each of those jig heads. So a great selection to get you started on your soft plastic journey, or if you're wanting to top up your kit, or just pick up a few more jig heads for your next adventure. So that's the HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack. We've got our 1/16 ounce number 2, we've got our 1/12 number 1, our 1/8 1.0, 1/4 2.0, and that 1/4 3.0. So some of my favorite plastics to fish with that pack. If you grab that pack and 5 packets of plastics, you're going to catch a ton of different fish. And there's a few plastics here that work across a few of the different jig heads as well. So we kicked off first up prawns. So 2.5-inch prawns, a great prawn imitation. You can fish it nice and slow and hop it around, and that'll fish on any of those size 2, size 1, size 1.0. So that gives you 3 different hooks you can fish in it, 3 different head weights. Likewise, the curl tail option, we've got our ST grubs. So ZMan 2.5-inch ST grubs, again, perfect on any of those 3 smaller jig heads, allowing you to fish a lot of different applications. That's a curl tail, a lot more action and movement in the water. So our prawn, I target structure specifically. Our curl tail is a lot more, we can cover a lot more water with it, a lot of action in that lure. And then our jerkbait profile, so a 3.75-inch streaks is ideal for casting long in the wind. It gets down there quick on a nice light jig head, and we can apply action to that, getting that tail moving and twitching it around. And that one there, we can fish it on that 1/8 1.0, we can fish it on that 1/4 2.0 as well, and that's a deadly presentation. We then step up, we've got our 3-inch minnows. So 3-inch minnows is a great bait fish profile. We've covered our prawns, we've covered our jerk baits, we've covered our curl tails, and this is our paddle tail. It rigs on that 1/4 2.0 or 1/4 3.0, perfect for, you know, chasing jewfish, mulloway, chasing trevally, flathead, lots of different species love that paddle tail. They love a whiting, they love a mullet. And then when I get up on the flats, this is probably one of my favorites. This is the Slim Swims 2.5 inch, a bite-sized paddle tail snack. And I'll fish that on any of those heads in those lighter weights. So 1/16 ounce in the 2, the 1/12 in the 1, the 1/8 1/0, and probably one of my favorites in this is that 1/8 ounce 1/0. Big long cast across the flats, cover plenty of water, hop the edges, all that sort of thing. This guy has that paddle tail action, plenty of action built in, which makes it a great search bait and also a great plastic for targeting structure and fishing specific areas. So there you go, that HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack. We've got 25 jig heads in there. Grab ourselves a few packets of plastics to suit them, and we've pretty well got that river and estuary fishing covered. All right, folks, there we go. A couple of fish on the flats to finish. What a cool session. Fishing our way through the jig heads in that HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack. Teamed up with a few of my favorite ZMan plastics, and we got stuck into a mixed bag of species. Make sure you check out that HeadlockZ River and Estuary Value Pack and our other gear at tackletactics.com.au. Get out there and get stuck into a few fish. Cheers.